Welcome to ChatGPT University's course on learning the fundamentals of Python in a day. Is it really possible to learn the fundamentals of a language which you have never heard of, never worked on in a day? Well, ChatGPT is here for rescue. Let's see what we can do with it. If you have never signed up or used ChatGPT, I will share with you a link to do that. You can sign up here to save time. I'm directly in the ChatGPT interface, right? Um, so a quick note about Python. It's probably the most popular language among data scientists and data engineers. It is used across the organizations and universities in the world. So let's let's start uh, with requesting ChatGPT for sharing with us a roadmap for learning the fundamentals of Python in a day. So the first thing it does is keeps you realistic, right? It's a challenging task, but not impossible. You can definitely learn the fundamentals, and then it kind of lists down few steps. One important thing to note here that, and it kind of goes for any programming languages, that coding, practicing the coding is very important. If you're trying to build something, if you're trying to prep for interview, you have to practice. That gives you the speed. Also, that helps you understand the concepts better and at a deeper level because you are doing it hands on. Now, this is kind of on a high level. Let's understand what are some of the fundamental topics that we can focus on using Python, right? So again, obvious contenders for most of the languages, your variables and data types, your operators and expressions, your control flow, your functions, your data structures, lists, tuples, dictionaries. So this is great, right? Let's get one step further and ask about variables and data types in Python. So again, it is listing out the basic variables: numeric, string, boolean, list, which is arrays, tuples. You have your set data types as well, and dictionaries, which is also called associative arrays or hashes. Let's ask these same question with an example syntax. So while it is doing that, let me give you some tidbits about Python. So Python is an interpreted language, which means the source code of a Python program is converted into a bytecode and then it is executed by the Python virtual machine. So you don't need to compile the code, in other words, unlike some of the languages like C or C++, right? You don't need to build the code. On that note, you can install Python in your machine, obviously. However, you can go to python.org/shell, where it gives you a Python shell where you can execute your code. For example, let's say these are a couple of strings, and I can just print it right here, right? This is a great way to get started in Python without going through the hassle of installing Python in your local. You can just start in the web and run with it. Now, one of the important thing about Python is functions. So let's talk a little bit. Let's see what it gives us when we ask about functions. Can you explain functions in Python with an example? So obviously it's a block of code which performs a specific tasks, and it can take an optional input argument, and it can return an optional value. So if you see, it's just giving you different examples of Python function. Again, we can copy paste this code in the shell right here, and then I can say square of 5, and it gives me 25. So that's kind of amazing, right? You can learn using the ChatGPT bot, and then run your code in the online interpreter. This is all free to you. It's a free learning resource, great learning resource. You can learn in your own pace. Let's just do a little bit more, and then I can show you some other tricks to get better at Python, writing Python code faster. So let's talk about exception handling. Explain to me exception handling in Python using examples. Again, exception handling is a process of dealing with errors uh, in a good way, right? So that unexpected error does not pass to your calling program. And so it talks about the basic structure, the try, except, finally, and then close. Last but not the least, Python is an object-oriented language. But if you have never worked on an object-oriented language, one good way to start is explain object-oriented concepts on object-oriented language concept to a 9-year-old. And this is a kind of prompt engineering which makes sure that it is explaining the technical jargons in a very lucid and simple way. And then obviously you can interact with it and get into the details. Now, one of my favorite website to play around with Python is codingbat.com, and you have Python problems and Java problems. What you can do is you can select any problem, right? So this is a warm-up. So these are simpler problems. So given an integer n, return the absolute difference of n and 21, except return double the absolute difference if n is over 21, right? So if I just go here, write the program in Python. Obviously, the suggested way for you is to try this program first. However, because ChatGPT is here, if you are stuck, this just gets you, hyper started. It gives you a almost like a tutor who is working with you. So if I just copy paste this program, put it over here. Sorry, it's okay. Yes. So in Python, the tabs are important. So it forces you to write beautiful code. And if you see, it wrote the program, it passes all the test, passed all the tests. Let's look at a more difficult problem using list. Let's say sum 67. Return the sum of the numbers in an array, except ignore sections of numbers starting with a 6 and extending to the next 7. Every 6 will be followed by at least one 7. Right? You can take your time understanding the problem. I'm going to share with you all the link, but let's see what ChatGPT does. Write the program in Python. Let's see what ChatGPT does to write this program. Okay, so it did wrote a program, and by the way, whatever program it is writing, it is also explaining step by step what it is doing. So let's just go here, just paste it, and voila. As you can see, it passed all the tests, so it understood the logic, came up with the right syntax. This is a great starting point. By no means I'm saying this is the end. I mean, you can do years in Python and still learn new things. However, I would say this is a great starting point. Works as a tutor, works as your friend to get you started, not only in Python, but any programming language. Thank you for joining us. It has been an honor from ChatGPT University, and I would see all of you in the next video.